If you're heading out the door this morning, we're following two roads that are closed because of major water main breaks. We're seeing one in Matthews, another one off of Providence. A lot of that water just spewing over, and with such cold temperatures, it's freezing. So we're going to be following that on WCNC Plus.
All right, joining us at 7 a.m. Streaming live at 7 a.m. right here on WCNC Plus. I'm Ben Thompson.
And I'm Lisa Washington. We start things off with a check of your forecast on this Tuesday morning. It is bitterly cold this morning. Chris says the coldest we've seen in 2 years.
Yeah, and it doesn't feel great, but you know what? We're doing okay, right? It's fine. It's fine. Yeah, no, it's fine. Check this out. We are looking off yonder. Beautiful sunrise, at least. And this is actually a pretty cool shot over here in Kannapolis. You can still see some of that leftover sleet that's still frozen onto the grass there. Compared to just 24 hours ago, we are 18 degrees colder in Charlotte, and we are 20 degrees colder for you in Monroe. That brings our current temperature to 15 degrees. That's right, 15 degrees. Meanwhile, Statesville, you're at 10, and then 7 degrees right around Morganton. So here's what we're talking about. The coldest in 2 years? Well, actually, during this time frame, officially we've hit 14 degrees. So the last time that we were even close to that was 13 degrees back in 2024. That was January 21st. So yeah, no, it's officially been 2 years since we've been around that 13 degree mark. But guess what? One of the one thing graphics that I had, so it's all the time on WCNC Charlotte on our TV station, not our Plus channel. We're going to show every half hour one thing you need to know about the weather. And my one thing was, this is the coldest low of the season so far. But look where we're going. 14 degrees on Sunday, 14 degrees on Monday, and potentially 11 degrees on Tuesday. And a lot of this could be because of maybe some snow-cooled air. Now, I don't want to get ahead of myself too much, but yeah, we do have a chance for some snow this weekend. And I'm saying that with still low confidence because a lot of different things will change, and I'll get to that in 1 second. But one thing that usually is the big troublemaker for forecasters is the cold air, but that is not the case right now. 39 degrees, we're cold. 45 degrees, better with a mix of cloud and sunshine. We'll cloud things up a little bit more on Thursday as we're waiting for our next winter weather system to potentially be approaching. Okay, so let's talk about the trends. For one, the winter storm this weekend, and I think it would be snow as the main precipitation type. Checkbox number one, ample cold, because I'm talking about freezing temperatures for the entirety of the weekend. Check out this weekend forecast I have. 28 degrees for a high on Saturday, 29 on Sunday. Truly for a snow event, you can have temperatures that are above freezing if you have the right moisture and setup, and you could still have snow. But this one right here is kind of that sweet spot. You can still have a little bit closer to that wetter snow, stuff that would accumulate, and I think it's more so really Friday night heading into Saturday, and that's the current time frame. But we're going to keep the window open really from Friday night through Saturday night that could have some of the activity. Again, the timing I think works out, but we're starting to get in this pattern that every 7 days or so, some sort of system is going to be rolling through. So I want to show you exactly what that looks like on our long range forecast, and then we'll take a deeper dive into the different scenarios we could see. But the model that I trust the most as far as the long term goes, and trust me, this is so far out. There's a degree change in the path can be the difference of nothing at all to snow for us. But one thing that we are seeing, and since we are still so cold, that I think Friday evening we could start seeing some snow flurries. Now, I think the timing will change. I think if anything, it's going to be later, so more of a Saturday event. But this one is shaping up that at least on Saturday morning we could have some snow. Here's what's going to bust the forecast for us, that this turns into more of an Eastern Carolina event, and then meanwhile we're left here just disappointed that we didn't see the snow. So I'm not saying that, hey, you're going to see widespread accumulating snow. I just want people to kind of pique their interest that this is going to be a possibility, because look at how close this low comes to the United States, and eventually it could start to move its way back towards the north and east, and even the back end of this will have a chance for a little bit of flurry action that could follow behind it, because we're going to be certainly cold. So right now, 39 degrees. We should be in the lower 50s for highs. We're nowhere near that over the next 7 days. We have the 40s, then eventually have a freezing weekend before we start to warm up slightly heading into Monday, which, by the way, is one of my favorite days, Groundhog Day, that officially marks the midpoint of winter, and Punxsutawney Phil will tell you his prognostication of prognostications. All right, let's get right over to the biggest problem we're dealing with this morning, water main breaks.
Good morning, everyone, and not surprising with such cold temperatures. And yeah, we are seeing those pipes freeze, but in this case, this is going to be a water main break. This is a picture that just came into our traffic inbox. This is coming in from Providence Road and Sharon Amity Road. All of the water just spewing all over the roads, and with such cold temperatures, it's freezing so fast. You can see emergency responders are there, people are there trying to resolve this, but in the meantime, they're asking to just completely avoid the area. In addition to that, out in Matthews, we're also seeing another water main break. This one is going to be on West John Street at Covenant Church Road. That's just south of Highway 51. Similar setup, very slick and icy road conditions, just dangerous traveling. Those are two important things you need to know before you head out the door. We do not have any active crashes to report this morning. We're seeing nice dry area roadways on I-77 and I-85. No problems here. This is even I-485. Notice the sleet is off to the side there. The roads, the main interstates are nice and dry. However, if you're in the mountains, it's a whole different story. This is a sheet of ice on all of our interstates, our primary roads, our secondary roads. We're going to talk more about what you're waking up to if you're waking up in the mountains coming up here soon. Lisa.
In fact, Majestic, we're going to do it right now as black ice and freezing temperatures remain among the big concerns this morning, especially in the mountains of western North Carolina. And that is where we find WCNC Charlotte's Richard Devane. Richard has been in Boone since the very beginning of this storm. Richard, I know it's cold there. You've got the wind and then a number of streets still impacted by the winter weather that haven't been cleared.
Yeah, that's absolutely correct, Lisa. Good morning to you. Good morning. You just heard Majestic say on this Tuesday morning that there are sheets of ice, and as you see cars try and slow down here on Blowing Rock Highway, it's actually sliding. See that truck with the lights across the street? That is just simply sheets of ice that they're dealing with, trying to get in and out. The few businesses or the few people who are up this morning on the roads trying to do what they can. And now some cars speed like that. Other cars are taking it slow. The Watauga County Sheriff's Office tells us that when I asked the conditions of the roads, they said this was a little bit early. He said it was bad. lately they said it's not something that they want any of their residents to be on if they don't have to be. All we've seen is a lot of, for the most part, workers, crews out here trying to do what they can to treat the roads. Now, this is Blowing Rock Highway. This has been probably one of the better maintained roads throughout the time we've been up here. But even now, you can see a lot of slick spots on this, and it's tough going. If you look at secondary roads, it's a whole nother story. I mean, it's you don't even want to walk on them. We found the only piece of land that actually has some traction for us to stand on. That's why I'm not doing a ton of moving around or trying to demonstrate. It wouldn't look good if I were to fall over or something like that. Cold? Yes. We're about -8 degrees, 5 degrees Fahrenheit. With the wind chill, it feels like it's -8 degrees. Really cold, brutal morning. Luckily, schools are out, county offices are closed, and a lot of businesses have asked their employees to please stay home. Driving, really bad, really treacherous, a lot of trouble under the rubber. So if you don't have to be on the roads this morning, don't do it. We're right here in Watauga County. This is Richard Devane. Guys, we'll send it back to you.
All right, Richard. Yeah, we don't want you sliding around, so you be careful out there.
Well, with the bitter cold and the dangerous road conditions that Richard just alluded to, no surprise, several school districts announcing changes for today. You probably already know this at this point, but in case you don't, CMS, York District 1, Rock Hill, Gaston County schools all learning remotely today. Union, Cabarrus, Catawba County schools closed. We know that's just the beginning of the list. A lot more districts out there. You can find the full list of changes right now inside our WCNC Charlotte app.
Also, right now, Duke Energy continues to restore power across the Carolinas. So far, the company has restored power to more than 130,000 customers. Still, more than 4,000 customers remain in the dark this morning. About 40 of those are here in Mecklenburg County. For those who do have power, Duke Energy offering some tips to manage your energy use as the frigid temperatures persist. They say when you are home, adjust your thermostat to the lowest comfortable setting. Also, adjust your ceiling fans to spin clockwise. That way you push the warm air down into the room, and open your blinds during the day to allow the sun to heat your home. As crews continue working, Duke Energy is warning customers about a new scam. Take a look at this. The company says some people are receiving messages that claim there's a scheduled power outage. Now, those messages are not from Duke Energy. Officials are urging you to not click any links or download attachments from unknown senders. If you have questions about your account or any outages, contact Duke Energy directly.
Charlotte Area Transit will have limited service today. The Blue Line, it's going to operate just as normal. Buses are going to run, but they may make some detours based on road conditions. The Gold Line streetcar and the express bus will be suspended until at least tomorrow. And CATS Micro is operating, but you should expect some delays because of the icy road conditions. 7:09 right now. The president making executive decisions in Minneapolis following the death of Alex Preddy. Find out what actions are being taken to prevent further conflict. And as we go to break, a reminder, folks, scouting for food just around the corner. We've been doing this now for 34 years. WCNC Charlotte could not be prouder to partner with the Scouts for it. On Saturday, the Scouts are going to drop off door tags to homes across the area. If you get one, they'll be back the next Saturday to pick it up. If you don't get one, that's okay. Just text Scout for Food to 50155 to make a donation.
7:12 now. This is a live look from our Chevy Storm Tracker this morning. We are tracking multiple water main breaks in the Charlotte area this morning that could impact your morning commute. This is our Storm Tracker traveling again. A number of these water main breaks. Majestic is going to have details as we are tracking them for you this morning.
Switching gears now, we've got some scenes from a vigil held in Arvada, Colorado for Alex Preddy. He was a 37-year-old man killed in Minneapolis by federal agents. Despite the cold and falling snow, the crowd stood together to remember him and hear messages of support. Organizers say the vigil felt especially meaningful because Preddy's parents live there in the area there in Colorado, making the loss feel closer to home. Many more memorials for Preddy have been started nationwide.
Border Patrol Commander Greg Bovino is leaving Minneapolis this week, and the number of Customs and Border Patrol agents will be reduced. It's the latest move by the Trump administration since a border agent shot and killed Alex Preddy. NBC's Alice Barr has details as Republicans are calling for transparency in the investigation.
A shifting landscape in Minneapolis this morning, where the outcry over federal agents shooting 37-year-old Alex Preddy to death is prompting the Trump administration to shake up its leadership on the ground and reduce the number of Border Patrol agents there. That's according to an administration official and a law enforcement source. State and local officials have been pressing for a federal agent pullout.
What justifies this disproportionate flood? Nothing legitimate.
The White House confirming Border Czar Tom Homan will now head up operations in Minneapolis, with the controversial Border Patrol commander Greg Bovino moving out, according to two sources, and the administration defending its top Homeland Security leadership.
Secretary Noem still has the utmost confidence and trust of the President of the United States.
DHS Secretary Noem now scheduled to testify on Capitol Hill amid mounting bipartisan frustration. Republican Senator John Curtis saying he disagreed with Noem's, quote, premature DHS response before all the facts were known in the Preddy shooting, weakening confidence, he says. A growing number of GOP lawmakers calling for an independent investigation as multiple cell phone videos verified and analyzed by NBC News contradict the Trump administration's initial description, suggesting Preddy was a domestic terrorist. Local officials say he was legally carrying his gun. Outside the Minneapolis VA hospital, where Preddy worked as an ICU nurse, a growing memorial and mounting grief from past patients.
He held my hand and he told me things were going to get better.
That now a devout wish for a city in turmoil. In a major shift in tone, President Trump is now suggesting he could work with Democratic officials in Minnesota after calls with the governor and Minneapolis mayor, both of whom he's been slamming for weeks. The Democrats saying the president agreed the situation on the ground cannot continue. In Washington, Alice Barr, NBC News.
Google has agreed to pay $68 million to settle a lawsuit claiming its voice assistant recorded users without their permission. The suit says Google Assistant sometimes activated by mistake and captured private conversations. A judge still needs to approve the settlement, which was filed in a federal court. Google denies doing anything wrong, but chose to settle to avoid a long legal fight. The agreement covers users who experienced these accidental activations dating back to 2016.
Three major tech companies, Meta, TikTok, and YouTube, are heading to trial today in Los Angeles over claims their platforms intentionally addict and harm children. The case centers on a 19-year-old who says social media worsened her mental health and that the platforms were deliberately designed to keep kids hooked. Executives, including Mark Zuckerberg, are expected to testify during this 6 to 8 week trial. The outcome could influence thousands of similar lawsuits accusing social media companies of contributing to a growing youth mental health crisis. We're going to take a look back at the past weekend's weather storm, of course, that came through the area. For some of you, it wasn't what you were expecting. Why it wasn't crippling. Chris joins us next. 7:19 now. It is the coldest morning that we have seen in 2 years. Schools are closed and thousands of flights have been canceled, as well as dozens of water main breaks in our area.
All that said, though, over the past few days, we've heard from hundreds of you a bit frustrated, saying what you saw outside your window didn't really match the forecast. So we want to talk about some of the discrepancy. Chris joins us right now, and I can only say anecdotally.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
My house is perfectly fine, but I was in the airport yesterday with thousands of frustrated travelers who were severely impacted. Our next door neighbor currently has a flooded front yard because of the water main break in her house. And then our other friend is currently paying $2,000 for a new water heater this morning. So I always like to remind people, because it didn't have outside your window doesn't mean it didn't happen.
And that people weren't impacted,
that's
for
right.
Sure.
And that's the biggest deal, is because what we were calling for is for an ice storm. We saw an ice storm, but we said that it could be crippling. And the key days could be crippling and one of the worst we've ever seen, or it could look like this. It's not like it didn't happen. We were just fortunate that this isn't the streets of Charlotte. This is what people, I feel like, are disappointed. Well, I got a generator. And that would have been great if, yes, we did lose power, but there are people that are still without power. I think the last check was 186,000 people around the Nashville area do not have power because trees were split into 4. There are multiple power lines down. There I'm talking about tens of millions of dollars in damage from Mississippi over to Nashville, and it was treacherous. So yes, we were forecasting that this could have been the scenario. So we're fortunate that we don't see this on the streets of Charlotte. But it's also the same thing. Ben listed, we know people closer to our inner circle who have been impacted by this, who did lose power.
Yes.
We only lost internet, so that's all we really have here. That we always try to let you know what the worst case scenario could be, but we hope for the best. And I feel like that's exactly what happened.
Prepare for the worst and hope for the best.
And we are looking at an excellent winter system, but we're always going to try to say transparency here. And Ben brought this up. There's times that we completely miss it. And we're going to let you know when that happens. But this one, it actually verified more than you think. Because look at this map. We still have a lot of people that are without power. We're talking about over 500,000 people from this storm. Now, even though North Carolina is not in the mix, we still have 2 different spots, really, the western side of the Carolinas and the eastern side, that saw well over a ½ inch and where we saw a majority of our power outages. But I had this graphic that I updated on Sunday morning that I called for, hey, okay, it looks like we're shaping up to about 1 inch of sleet and about a quarter to a ½ inch of ice. Just letting you know that did come to fruition. This is not up in here to say, see, look, we're right. No, I'm just letting you know that sometimes when we show these ranges, because yes, we did have a graphic that said 1/4 to 3/4 of an inch of ice, with the chance that this could be a crippling ice storm. We can thank our lucky stars that we were in that lower range, but it could have been a lot worse. And the main reason why, we were too cold. Temperatures in the teens doesn't give enough moisture, so things were kind of spitting. And we also hit some drier air that took away that precipitation. Meanwhile, all the moisture was further off towards the west, so we saw a vast majority of precipitation in the back end. I'm letting you know, 2 to 3 hours. That's the difference between us still being without the power and some of you probably not even be able to watch us right now. So for those of you that were disappointed by this, just letting you know, we always give a range. It could be the lower end, but luckily we weren't on the higher end. All right, let's just get over to Majestic, who is dealing with some cold weather impacts and not a great drive from place to place.
Good morning, everyone. This is a live camera look from the WCNC storm tracker. You can see this is our photographer who's driving. He's heading out towards Matthews because that is where one of our major water main breaks are. So once he gets there on scene, we're going to show you what it actually looks like. In the meantime, I want to show you one of our pictures that we got into our traffic inbox. This is another one. This is out towards Providence Road. I mean, we have such cold temperatures. We're seeing those water mains break and then water spews all over the road and everything instantly freezes up. That's on Providence Road at Sharon Amity Road. And once we switched over to my map, this is exactly what I'm talking about. That area shaded in purple, it is completely blocked off. We don't exactly know when it will be reopened because they're continuing to work on this problem, and those cold temperatures surely are not helping. Again, we'll have another live camera shot coming in from our WCNC Chevy Storm Tracker coming up soon.
Well, today's National Plan of Vacation Day. Why not?
That's right.
The perfect excuse to start dreaming about sunshine and getaways.
With the cold weather sticking around, it's a great time to map out those beach days or mountain escapes. Americans leave hundreds of millions of vacation days unused every year. So this day is all about making sure that yours don't go to waste. Grab a calendar, pick your days, and start plotting something fun. Now, if you need a sign to plan that trip, this is it. Was doing that just last night.
Listen,
Nice.
if you don't take all your PTOs, all your vacation days, you
Right.
can't blame your bosses. You got to plan for them, you know?
You have to use them.
You got to use them.
gotta
I
have
just
some
came back, so I'm happy to be here with you
Yeah.
guys.
Kind of probably a shock to the system, though.
Yeah, shock to
Yeah.
the system for sure. Goodness.
We're
But
glad you're back.
it's good to be back, honestly. After a few days off, I'm like, okay,
Yeah. Vacation's a good reset. You know, make it
Vacation
reset.
is wonderful.
you guys know
Don't
how I
leave
feel.
those days on the table. Don't do it.
Yeah, and when we're waking up to 15 degrees, yeah, start planning for that warmer vacation.
Yeah,
so
somewhere warm.
it's the only way that we can survive for the time being. All right, coming up, we're going to have a lot more here on WCNC Plus. But right now, gorgeous start to the day, even though it is cold. Take care. Well, good morning, everyone. Check this out. Beautiful looking day, right? Unless you're outside, because it is so cold right now. Temperatures right now are around 15 degrees. Yikes. So one of the coldest temperatures we've had in over a year. 39 is going to be our high today, so right around 40. Sunshine's going to be a nice help, trying to melt away any ice and try to evaporate a lot of it out of the way. So each morning going forward, we're going to have less and less black ice. Good news there. But we still have a gusty environment, so we're going to have some wind gusts up to around 20 miles per hour or so, making it feel wind chilly. Back to the 40s before we have a freezing weekend, even the chance for snow Friday night through Saturday. All right, Majestic, got a lot going on this cold, cold morning.
Those cold temperatures are actually causing some issues out on those area roadways. Take a look at your TV screen. This is a water main break. This is out there on Providence Road at Sharon Amity Road. Water spewing all over this morning and really freezing because we're dealing with such bitterly cold conditions. Another water main break is right here, the one that I just showed you, the purple. That's going to be right off of Providence Road and Sharon Amity Road. But the second one that we're following is just to the south out there in Matthews over on West John Street. That's just going to be south of Highway 51. We are following everything for you this morning on WCNC Plus. See you over there soon.
Thanks for streaming live on WCNC Plus at 7:30. I'm Lisa Washington.
And I'm Ben Thompson. Let's get right over to Chris. Chris, we've been talking about forecasts for the last several days, the ice, the sleet, and the thing all along, going back for days now, is the problem was right after it was going to be really, really cold. And guess what? This morning,
really, really cold.
there you go.
14 degrees. Oh, so I was calling for 13, so we just missed out on that. So 14 is likely our low for the morning. And we were saying that this is going to be the coldest temperature in over a year, and that wasn't sensationalizing it. Literally, the last time that we were around 14 was 13 degrees on January 21st. 2024. Now, we did hit 16 degrees this past December. We were even colder than that. And what if I told you we could be colder than that going forward? Because I have 14 degrees again on Sunday and Monday and Tuesday. It's just all dependent if we're going to see any snow this weekend, because that's going to make things feel a whole lot cooler. Quick update as far as power outages go, over 500,000 without power. And we had just talked about this, but I want to actually build on this. 28% of Nashville and Davidson County is without power still. So more than a quarter still without power because of that ice storm. So just kind of wanted to build on that. But what we're looking at forward thinking is that we are going to have another system that is going to develop down towards the south that potentially could bring some weather impacts and winter impacts for the Carolinas. Not so much for the Tennessee area. That was a completely different setup. This is more of that classic nor'easter setup, which just means that you could have this system that starts to swing in, and when that does, that is going to allow for a better chance for snow, especially along the shoreline. So where things are trending. Usually we're at this point in the forecast, we're going to say, all right, do we have the cold air? Big old check. Temperatures right around that freezing point and below. Do we have the moisture? That's a big old check. And if we were to look right now, things are trending that this would be snow and less of an ice scenario. However, this is where it gets a little bit tricky. Because of those paths that I was just showing you, it depends on a difference of 50 miles between of us seeing barely anything, maybe just some snow flurries here around the Charlotte area, to actually seeing widespread snow, like actually accumulating snow, the stuff that people can fling snowballs and it's just not balls of ice, and maybe even making some of those snowmen as well. Which, speaking of, I love to feature different things that you might have been doing during this time frame, but I wanted to show you this. This is Regulato Real Estate sent this in. I literally had said, and I was like, well, sorry, no snowmen. Haha, you proved me wrong, didn't you? Well, you can draw it physically in the sleet, and this is what they did physically on a Sunday. So even though that event is past, I still want to see your photos. All you have to do is just text us 704-329-3600. I'll be monitoring those, and maybe you'll even see your photo a little bit later on here on WCNC Plus. Now I want to go through the Futurecast one more time, or for the first time this half hour, before we actually get to the 7-day forecast. This is the case and scenario. That low pressure system, I showed you that map where the destination is going to be. Right now things are trending that we're kind of on the edge that, hey, you see a little bit of snow, but it's not a lot. Can't really determine what the snow totals would be, but I think it would be a burst of snow Friday heading to Saturday, with that time frame perchance pushing into more Saturday to Saturday night. But regardless, this is, I think, hands down going to be a better chance further east that you go here in the Carolinas, shaping up that it would be more of kind of like a beach snowstorm compared to what we would have here in the Charlotte. So still could be a little bit quieter, not as gusty or winds as well, but something that we are watching closely. So right now, we're saying we have a chance, but the odds are definitely lower than I think what other people would like. But the cold air is in place, so at least we have one box checked. We just need to see where the path is going to be. Again, look at how many bars we still have to get through until we're even at the event, so a lot's going to change. Right around 40 today. 40s after that. One thing, we shift from the teens to the 20s for our lows, and then eventually we start to see some chillier teens going forward. Really just all dependent on what we see on Saturday. So just a weather aware that could change heading into the weekend. Now we're traffic alert right now because Majestic has a brand new situation. Not a good start.
Yeah, this one's a tough one. Take a look at your screen, you guys. This is a serious accident right here, just happening minutes ago. This is I-85, mile marker 53, impacting southbound lanes. We know very little information, but we know we have an overturned tractor trailer there. Dozens of emergency responders there on scene. It looks like one lane is slowly able to get around it, but as you can see, this is a very, very serious crash here. Again, I-85. Let me show you what I'm looking at when it comes to my map. So from uptown, it's going to be north of that, out near Kannapolis. So this is out in Cabarrus County. I-85, southbound lanes being impacted by this. This is near the George Liles Parkway, where we are seeing those delays really starting to build because of this serious crash. Again, still learning exactly what just happened, just getting this information in, and this is our camera that's showing you the direct impacts here, but I'm also going to take a look at some of my other cameras to see how far backed up this is already going to be. So this is going to be the biggest thing. We are traffic alert because of this, as we are following this overturned tractor trailer on I-85 southbound lanes that'll be out towards Kannapolis. In addition to that, we're also following two major water main breaks. This one here is on Providence Road at Sharon Amity Road. We have bitterly cold temperatures, the water spewing all over the roads, and it's creating very slick and icy conditions. They're asking to avoid this area until further notice. Not just that one, but we're following another major water main break. This one here is in Matthews on West John Street at Covenant Church Road, just south of Highway 51. That's where we are seeing very slick and icy conditions as well. If you're watching from the mountains, that's where we do have very bad conditions when it comes to those area roadways, iced over, but this is I-77 here in South Carolina. If you're watching from there, I-77 doesn't look bad, actually very dry. I-85 though, again, out towards Kannapolis, we do have that serious crash. We'll have another update coming up soon.
All right, Majestic, thanks so much for that. Well, as you heard Chris say, this is the coldest morning that we've seen in 2 years, and that leaves many people at risk.
WCNC Charlotte's Destiny Richards now live in Elizabeth, explaining the resources the city's providing to folks really that don't have a place to go on a morning like this. Destiny.
That's right. The winter storm may be over, but now that dangerous cold is here and will be with us for several days. There are emergency storm shelters that will begin to close starting today, but local homeless shelters, they will be open for people in need, especially as advocates say homelessness is still a major issue in our city and the region. Now, here at the Grady Cole Center, this was a shelter that was open ahead of the weekend storm. It will deactivate today at 11 a.m. Mecklenburg County, the City of Charlotte Emergency Management, and the American Red Cross activated the shelter in response to forecasted extreme weather and possible power outages. While the storm has now dissipated, advocates say the need for shelter remains high. Just days ago, during the annual point-in-time count, organizers say the number of people experiencing homelessness is already trending higher than last year, at a time when affordable housing and shelter beds are in short supply.
With the rise in homelessness, we don't have the rise in shelter beds, right? So we don't have enough beds for the folks that actually need to access it. It looks really nice in the movies, but that's just not what it is in reality.
As the Grady Cole Center shelter closes, county leaders say everyone who has stayed there has been checked in on and connected with available services. For anyone still unsheltered, alternate options open later today. Roof Above will begin accepting men at 12:30 this afternoon, and the Salvation Army will open its doors to women and families between 4 and 7 p.m. Now, outreach teams with Hearts for the Invisible Charlotte Coalition, they have been going out to encampments, and they will continue to do so to provide shelter information and give out winter weather supplies. You can also help out by donating winter weather supplies to Roof Above, Block Love, as well as Hearts for the Invisible Charlotte. We have more information on how to do that in this story on the WCNC mobile app. Live in Elizabeth, I'm Destiny Richards, WCNC Charlotte.
Destiny, thank you for that. Well, this morning, flights are starting to bounce back after major delays and cancellations from the winter weather. Right now, Flight Aware reporting there are 43 delays and more than 170 cancellations at Charlotte Douglas. That's an improvement from last night when many travelers that we spoke with were still feeling the impacts.
We have had 5 more flights canceled, and so now, yes, it's almost 8 o'clock. And there's no getting out, and so they've rebooked me for the only flight tomorrow, which is at 9:45 p.m. And so I'm thinking of maybe just going back home to Wilmington.
Hopefully she and the other passengers will be able to get out soon. Airport officials urging passengers to check with their airlines for the flight status before arriving at the airport. Right now, we are working to learn more about a crash in West Charlotte. It happened last night on I-85 South near Beatties Ford Road. Medic confirms one person was taken to the hospital with serious injuries. There is no word on that person's condition nor what led up to the crash.
Also right now, one person fighting for their life after being hit by a car in East Charlotte. It happened at the intersection of Central Avenue and Rosehaven, not too far from Albemarle Road. Medic tells us that they took one person to the hospital with serious injuries. This morning, a beloved Blowing Rock restaurant, its owners promising to rebuild after a massive fire we told you about. It started Sunday morning at Bistro Roca, a building more than 100 years old near the heart of Blowing Rock. Owners say the restaurant's a total loss, and you can see why in this video, but they're glad nobody was hurt. In a statement, the owners say it's been filled with decades of memories, and while they're still in shock, they believe the community that sustained them will also help them rebuild. The cause of the fire remains under investigation. 7:40 right now, tax season here, and your refund might be bigger than you expected. Coming up, why some households could see an extra few dollars back this year.
Well, good morning, everyone. We now have a WCNC traffic alert. We are following an overturned tractor trailer right in the middle of I-85. These are the southbound lanes that are being impacted by this out in Kannapolis. This is going to be very impactful for your morning commute. I-85 right between mile marker 53 and 54. You can see a handful of emergency responders are there still on scene, trying to help those involved and trying to get this all cleared. Still learning exactly what happened, what caused this, that is unknown at this point, but it is near the George Liles Parkway, again out in Kannapolis, I-85 southbound. This is what it looks like currently. You can tell now one lane was just open, but it seems like they're not even allowing any other cars to move as that paramedics is going through. So keep this in mind as you are heading out the door. Again, I-85 southbound lanes out near George Liles Parkway. This is out in Kannapolis. We are traffic alert because of this serious crash, because of that overturned tractor trailer. We'll have another update coming up soon.
Majestic, thanks. Well, if you're in the market for a new car this year, get ready for sticker shock. New car prices are at a record high, and auto experts say buyers have less negotiating power.
Jen Sullivan explains what's driving up costs and how to find a good deal.
Americans are paying more than ever for cars, and those higher prices are fueled by a variety of factors, including fewer cheaper models and tariffs.
Cars are more expensive today than they were in years past.
Brian Moody works at Kelley Blue Book. Their data shows buyers paid an average of more than $50,000 for a new car last month. That's a record high. Average prices for an electric vehicle are even higher, more than $58,000. And the EV market has taken a hit. The $7,500 federal tax credit expired last October. Moody says he does think the EV market will bounce back. But then there's tariffs.
The cars that incur the highest tariff are the ones that arrive on our shores completely assembled.
Kelley Blue Book estimates tariffs can increase car prices by as much as $6,000 for cars under $40,000. Moody says automakers are going to spread those costs across their different models.
A person buying a $90,000 pickup can withstand a $3,000 price increase. A person buying a $25,000 compact sedan cannot withstand that much of a price increase.
Moody is more concerned about repair costs going up as tariffs drive up the price of parts. But it's not all bad news.
There are still many good deals to be found.
While you may not have much room to negotiate the price, Moody suggests negotiating things like free oil changes, car washes, ask for extra services to be included. The other good news is interest rates are coming down, which will mean lower monthly car payments. For Consumer Watch, I'm Jen Sullivan.
President Trump pushing for a 10% cap on credit card rates. It's his latest attempt to quell affordability concerns. Right now, American households are facing the most credit card debt on record, going back to 1999. According to the data from the Federal Reserve Bank of New York, outstanding credit card balances hit more than $1.2 trillion in the third quarter of last year. The banking industry says the president's proposal would make an economic disaster, leaving many with no access to credit.
When consumers lose access to credit, which is anticipated if this rate cut goes in, they often reduce their spending on essentials like healthcare, education, food, and are more likely to fall behind on bills.
Now the average interest rate on credit cards is just under 20%, though according to Bankrate, some rates are much higher. Why? Because if consumers fail to make payments, there's no physical asset the bank can take.
The largest thrift store chain in the world, Goodwill, says it exceeded $7 billion in revenue last year amid the uncertain economy. That's not only a record-setting high, it's also a 7% hike from 2024. Analysts say slow job growth and a rise in costs have more people shopping at Goodwill stores in order to save money. Officials say they plan to add at least 50 new Goodwill locations nationwide this year. Tax season is here and many Americans could see higher refunds this year. The Treasury Department estimates it'll average $1,000 more per household. That's because many filers did not adjust their withholdings when the recent income tax breaks began. A new law boosts the individual standard deduction by $750 and by twice that amount for married couples. It also expands state and local tax deductions and gives a break to some seniors.
This is one of those mornings that weather and traffic go in tandem. It's 15 degrees right now. We still have some leftover black ice. And Majestic is talking about an overturned semi here on I-85 through Kannapolis heading towards Charlotte. This is a big backup. We've also seen water main breaks. Majestic has a lot to talk about what's slowing you down. And I have a lot to talk about that winter weather and more that potentially is on the way. We'll see you soon.
Good morning, everyone. We are traffic alert as we are following a very serious accident. This is a live camera, I-85 southbound. This is in Cabarrus County, out in Kannapolis, heading towards Charlotte, specifically around mile marker 55. Now notice, cars are at a complete stop. All lanes are currently blocked, not moving because of a serious accident. Just a couple of minutes ago, we saw the accident. It was an overturned tractor trailer. Dozens of emergency responders there on scene. They are continuing to try to clear it, to try to help everyone involved in that accident. So they have completely blocked off this section of I-85 nearing the George Liles Parkway. So what you need to know, let me switch it over to my map. This is where it's going to be. You can see that crash there indicated in purple. Again, I-85 southbound out in Cabarrus County between really mile marker 54 and 55. That purple on those southbound lanes, that's indicating that it's completely blocked off right now, this section of I-85. It's about a 2-mile delay currently because of that serious crash. Again, we no longer have that camera popped up anymore. It's not accessible to us where that actual crash is involving that overturned tractor trailer. But this alone tells you the story, how impactful that will be for your morning commute on I-85. Another thing, we have those water main breaks that are causing roads to be closed. This one here is on Providence Road at Sharon Amity Road. We have water spewing out on the roads early this morning and completely freezing over because of how cold it is. Not just that one on Providence, but a secondary one still ongoing in Matthews. This one is on West John Street at Covenant Church Road. This is just south of Highway 51. So those are two very important things to keep in mind. Most of I-77 looks okay if you're gearing up to head out the door. Most roadways for I-77 are pretty dry at this point, but continue to drive with caution, especially if you're going over any bridges, on and off ramps. If you're watching from the mountains, it's a whole different story. That's where we do have incredibly dangerous roads because everything is a sheet of ice. We're going to have another update on that traffic alert coming up here soon. But for now, we're going to send things over to Chris with an update on the weather. Good morning.
Good morning, Team Majestic. And yeah, give yourself some extra time if you are just letting your car sit. If it was in the sun, most likely it all melted away, but there's still some slick spots all over the place, especially walking around. So that's the biggest hazard we have. But the sun is up all day long, not a cloud in the sky. Likely scenario today. That changes by tomorrow, but lovely sunshine. So at least we have that on our shoulders to try to make us happy. As far as our high temperatures are concerned, I have a high of 39 since we are starting off colder than yesterday. I think we're just going to be 1 degree cooler than what we had Monday afternoon. 33, that's as much as we got to for your Sunday. That came up a little bit actually on the back end of the evening as the last blast of that precipitation was rolling through. And going forward, we're going to see temperatures try to jump back into the mid 40s, lower 40s for your Thursday and Friday. And then after that, we have a lot of those big question marks on the way. But letting you know, this is still not where we should be. Our new average high is now up to 53 degrees as we're closing out the last days of January, and it is just feeling winter-like. Now, oftentimes when you get a ice event, a snow event, it'll keep you much cooler for the foreseeable days just because you have that ice at the surface that you don't really allow for us to hold on to the heat as much. So that's exactly what I think was happening here, and with the chance for snow, that's going to keep us on the chillier side and even tank some of our lows as well. So really just keep in mind that even though we're cold this morning, doesn't mean that you're not going to be cold going forward too, because I want to show you where we're going over the next 10 days. It's not a good direction. As I mentioned, we should be in the lower 50s. We're nowhere near that. We're actually going to be returning to the upper 20s that I showed you for the weekend. As far as our lows are concerned, the coldest we've been so far this season, 14 degrees. Well, not only could we do that again, we could do it technically 3 times, Sunday through next Tuesday, anywhere from 11 to 14 degrees. Stay safe, everyone. Watch out for that patchy ice. Majestic and I will continue to keep you updated with weather and traffic here on WCNC+.
All right, 7:55 now. We are going to take another quick break as you take a look at the beautiful Charlotte skyline on this Tuesday morning. Temperatures into the teens, so it's quite chilly out there. We're going to take a break. We'll be right back here streaming on WCNC+.
Good morning, everyone. Unfortunately, we have a serious traffic impact alert as we are following an overturned tractor trailer that now has parts of I-85 completely shut down. Southbound lanes from Kannapolis heading towards Charlotte. This is out on mile marker 55. All lanes completely blocked off at this point. This is because of that serious crash just happening minutes ago. This is about a 2-mile backup. It's going to be on those southbound lanes nearing George Liles Parkway. Again, this is what we're following for you this morning. Still learning more as to what exactly happened, why this happened, but we do know a tractor trailer turned over in the middle of I-85 southbound. All lanes completely blocked off right there near mile marker 55. We are following this very closely for you on WCNC Plus. Chris.
Thanks a lot, Majestic. So today, 39 degrees, still a weather impact alert because of the slick spots that you could have some accidents, much like you're seeing. A lot of burst water mains as well. Really more of a traffic and travel issue, even walking around. Then we have the 40s and the 20s. But then check this out. We are likely below freezing for the entirety of this coming weekend. Even a chance for, ready for the word, snow. Yes, so it could be very cold and even snowy leading up to Groundhog Day. I'm going to have your full snowy forecast coming up on WCNC Plus and again here in 30.
Streaming live right now at 8 a.m. right here on WCNC Plus as we follow a major traffic impact alert for you on this Tuesday morning. I'm Ben Thompson.
And I'm Lisa Washington. Let's get right over to Majestic. We're talking about on I-85 South in Kannapolis.
Really impacting all lanes, completely blocked off at this point. I-85 southbound lanes blocked right now because of an overturned tractor trailer just happening really minutes ago. This is mile marker 55. Earlier, we did have another camera that was showing you the actual accident. There was dozens of emergency responders all spread out. At this point, we can't see that camera anymore. And so this is what we're showing next, telling the story of the impacts of that ongoing serious crash for you this morning. Again, I-85. This is mile marker 55. So heading southbound from Kannapolis towards Charlotte. Again, all lanes completely blocked off at this point. This is going to be as you're nearing George Liles Parkway where the impacts really are. All of that purple indicating that roads are completely blocked off right now on I-85 southbound because of this serious crash. I'm seeing the major lanes right here on I-85 not moving whatsoever. But even as people are trying to merge onto I-85, not knowing what's happening, happening. They're completely stuck as well. So it looks like a parking lot this morning because of those impacts of what we're seeing on I-85. In addition to that, another really important thing is that we're following such cold temperatures this morning that we're seeing water main breaks. This one out here is on Providence Road and Sharon Amity Road. Emergency responders there are asking to avoid the area because it's so slick and icy, and they don't have an estimated time as to when it's going to be reopened. Another one here, a water main break. This is out in Matthews on West John Street. This is just south of Highway 51. So we were really seeing a lot of problems out there this morning. We'll have another check on traffic coming up soon. But for now, let's send things over to Chris this morning. When is it going to warm up?
Oh, what a mess, Majestic. You're doing a great job. Well, it's going to warm up at least above freezing by the early afternoon, and you can still see the outfield covered right now in that sleet over here in Kannapolis. Kannapolis actually saw about an inch to an inch and a half of sleet and even up to a half inch of freezing rain. And luckily for us, we're not dealing with any more winter precipitation in the short term, but a gorgeous shot. If you're focusing on those cool Carolina blues off in the distance, it's a beautiful day. But if you focus in on the temperature, maybe you're going to disagree. Our official low for this morning looks like it's going to be 14 degrees, so it came within a degree of 2024. So our low for 2026 is already colder than the bottom of 2025. So that's put it in perspective. And one other stat, I love to find some sort of random stat. No matter the weather, you can find a weather stat. Currently, our low for the day is 14 degrees, and I think that that's going to settle. Well, since 2023, this is only the 9th time that Charlotte has actually dropped down into the teens. However, I'm already seeing on the extended forecast that we could do number 10, number 11, and number 12. That's right, on the extended forecast. All right, I want to be a little bit more uplifting. Luna Rose, it's Dog of the Day time. There it is. Cody, I appreciate you, my man. Dog of the Day time. It is going to be a cold morning, but I think Luna Rose already has her winter coat that is grown in. Sunshine across the board, so great for you. Maybe you still want your little doggy booties if you have them. If not, you're going to be just fine. That ice is going to be melting away and then a lot of it evaporating. However, we still have a wind gust getting up to 20 plus on and off throughout the afternoon, so the upper 30s at times will still feel like that freezing point. If you want to join in on the fun, you can always message me on Facebook to join in on Dog of the Day. Tomorrow I actually have a Bunny of the Day. All right, Cody, my director, I always appreciate you being my music man as well. Sunshine, all 4 panels here, still some lingering ice from place to place. And the big deal is if you're in a shaded area that doesn't get a lot of sunshine this year or this time of year, then you're going to have still a lot more lingering icy spots going forward. But our high temperatures are going to get a little bit warmer. The warmest we've been is 41 degrees over the past 3 days. Today is not going to surpass that, very similar to where we were yesterday and 3 days prior. But then tomorrow, 45. Oh my goodness. We're like in the Caribbean. I'm just being sarcastic because that's the warmest that we're going to be, at least over the next 7 days. I think we get back to that range by day 10 of the forecast, but it's really not until I think about a couple weeks out that we really start to get closer to the normal temperature that we should have for this time of year. Our weekend forecast, I know, it's a daring move right here. So right now, things are trending. This is the key word, trending, that we could see snow. However, there could be some disappointing Charlotteans just because we have snow that is more so on the eastern side of the Carolinas, but we still have a chance. I think that we have a chance to at least see snow as far as accumulations go. I'm going to put my weather bookmark right here. Next time you see me, I'm going to be talking strictly all about the snow and even something special that happened, maybe not so great, ice quakes, frost quakes. More on that coming up.
All right, Chris, thanks so much. 8:05. Well, you heard Chris mention that lingering ice, black ice, and freezing temperatures remain the biggest concerns this morning, especially in the mountains of western North Carolina. And that is where we find WCNC Charlotte's Richard Devane. He's been in Boone since the very beginning of the past weekend storm. So, Richard, tell us about the extreme cold there and what the streets are like.
It's warming up, Lisa. Good morning to you. Good morning, Ben. Good Tuesday morning, all. It's Tuesday, right? Yeah. It was 5 degrees. It's warmed up to 8 degrees, so that's good news. It feels like -2 degrees right now. You can see on Blowing Rock Highway, some cars are moving along. We've got some sun. There's hope that that could mean that the roads are going to be a little better. We were told earlier this morning by the Watauga County Sheriff's Office that it's best not to be on them. Most of the roads are bad, we've been told. This is one of the better roads. That's why we're up here. We can actually bring you our live shots from here. But as you can see on this ground, I'll do a little walking because I just feel like it. Right here, solid ice. This is what is under a lot of areas. You might see what looks like snow, but it's glistening. That's ice. Same thing on the roads. You can see toward the edges as people drive. And this, like I said, Blowing Rock Highway is one of the better roads as far as the treatment is concerned. But you can still see there's some slick spots on the road. They're advising folks not to be out and about today. Many of the businesses that would normally be open about now are at least starting to get ready to open. There will be workers coming, but that's not the case. Workers, again, told to stay home by a lot of businesses. We do know the schools are closed. County offices also closed down as well. It's very, very cold here. Very, very cold here. We're right here in Watauga County. We're in Boone. This is Richard Devane. Guys, we will send it back to you.
All right, Richard, go back inside so you can warm up. Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, with that bitter cold and dangerous road conditions, no surprise, a lot of school districts changed their schedules for today. As it stands right now, CMS, York District 1, Rock Hill, Gaston County schools are remote learning today. Union, Cabarrus, Catawba County schools are closed for the day. That's just the start of it. We have a full list right now of all those changes inside the WCNC Charlotte app.
Right now, Duke Energy continues to restore power across the Carolinas. So far, the company has restored power to more than 130,000 customers. Still, more than 4,000 customers remain in the dark this morning. About 40 of those are here in Mecklenburg County.
This morning, Governor Stein warning drivers to be careful all week long. The governor says throughout the week, melting snow and ice is going to refreeze overnight, and in the morning, like what we've seen this morning, creates a serious risk for ice, black ice, especially for folks up in the mountains. He's asking drivers to stay safe and aware all week long. South Carolina Highway Patrol are also urging folks to not let their guard down on the roadways. A master trooper joined us right here on WCNC Plus to share that reminder. She told us troopers will be out assisting drivers, and they hope folks prepare for conditions to worsen overnight.
The freezing temperatures are biggest, another concern for us is it freezing over and us having more issues. So we'll still keep troopers out 24/7, which we always do have them. We just have more manpower right now, of course. But just drive safe and just look out for the ice.
I mean, folks, we're seeing it out there this morning. It's still an issue, and it's going to remain cold all week. And as we said, possible precipitation this weekend. Keep it right here on WCNC Plus as we stream.
This morning, CMPD is working to identify the suspect who broke into a Charlotte arcade bar. Take a look at this video. This is actually security footage from Super Bari Game Bar. This was Sunday night around 8:30. And in that video, you can see a person wearing a hoodie hitting and kicking the door until the glass breaks. Moments later, the person enters and then takes what appears to be bottles of alcohol. We have reached out to CMPD to ask if anything else was taken. If you know anything about this incident, call police.
8:09 right now, the Justice Department has suddenly backed off an arrest warrant for journalist Don Lemon, but it may not be over. How far could this case go? That's up next.
And as we head to break, a reminder that scouting for food is around the corner. For 34 years now, WCNC Charlotte has partnered with the Scouts for this event. On Saturday, Scouts will drop off door tags to homes across our area. If you get one, they'll be back next Saturday morning, February 7th, to pick up your food donation. Now, if you don't get a door tag, you can still help. Just text Scout for Food to 50155 to make a donation. Every dollar you give helps provide 4 pounds of food for someone who needs it.
Well, good morning, everyone. We do have a WCNC traffic alert as we are following a serious crash that has shut down parts of I-85 southbound out in Kannapolis. So coming from Kannapolis heading towards Charlotte, this is what it looks like. Earlier this morning, we had a camera that was showing you the actual crash of an overturned tractor trailer. I'm talking about dozens of emergency responders there on scene. We no longer have access to that specific camera, but this is what we're seeing as a result of parts of I-85 being completely shut down. Looking like a parking lot, you can see cars at a complete standstill, not moving whatsoever. Even as you can see this ramp right here as people are trying to merge onto I-85. This is mile marker 55 there, heading towards George Liles Parkway. So for my map, again, this is where it's at, northeast of Uptown, heading towards Charlotte. This is where a serious crash is. Still learning the specifics of it. We know at least one big tractor trailer overturned. Lots of people there trying to help the person involved or the people involved. It's about at least a 2 to 3 mile backup. So if you typically drive on I-85 southbound out near Kannapolis heading towards Charlotte, you're going to want to avoid this part of it because it is shut down. We don't even have an estimation as to when it's going to be reopened, when these cars will be able to drive again. So coming up in just a few minutes, we'll talk about some best alternate ways to get around it and continuing to give you updates as we do learn them. Guys.
Majestic, thanks. We'll take a look at this. Some of the scenes from that growing sidewalk memorial in Minneapolis for Alex Preddy, the 37-year-old U.S. citizen shot and killed by federal agents. Preddy was an ICU nurse who worked at the Veterans Affairs Hospital in Minneapolis. His death sparked widespread protests and renewed calls from community members for ICE to leave the city.
The Trump administration is pulling Greg Bovino out of Minneapolis and putting border czar Tom Homan in. It comes amid growing calls for a new approach to the federal immigration crackdown in Minnesota. Reed Binion has more from Minneapolis.
He's sending in his top guard, and really it's escalating because we just want to be left alone.
City and state leaders in Minnesota, as well as residents in Minneapolis, reacting to news the Trump administration is changing its immigration enforcement leadership in the city.
Good riddance. Couldn't have came sooner.
This amid growing outcry after federal agents shot and killed protester Alex Preddy on Saturday. President Donald Trump signaling new willingness to work with Democratic state officials. Trump said Minnesota Governor Tim Walz called him, saying, quote, "It was a very good call and we actually seem to be on a similar wavelength." Walz described the call as productive and said the president agreed to look into reducing the number of federal agents in Minnesota. Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey said he also spoke with Trump and told the president his main request is that the immigration crackdown in the city be brought to an end. Meanwhile, some who witnessed Preddy's killing are sharing more details about what they saw.
I mean, the thing that stood out to me was that he was calm. There was no way that he was the one escalating this.
Amid ongoing protests and the growing memorials to Preddy, there was also a heartening moment of kindness as some Minnesota National Guard members handed out donuts and coffee to protesters.
I think that's true Minnesota energy. This is all about community.
I'm Reed Binion reporting.
The Justice Department has pulled back its request for arrest warrants for journalist Don Lemon and 4 others. The warrants were tied to an anti-ICE protest that disrupted a church service in Minnesota. A lower court judge had already refused to approve the criminal complaints, and Lemon was among those whose warrants were declined. Even so, the Justice Department could still pursue charges later, including through a grand jury. Lemon says he was at that protest as a journalist, not a participant, while 3 others have already been charged.
All right, plain and simple, we still have to say weather alert for this morning, but for the rest of the week, just note 10 to 15 degrees below normal, freezing temperatures each morning. When will we get back to where we should be on average? The lower 50s, the lower 30s. I'll let you know if I see any of that in sight over the next 14 days.
Hey, good morning, everyone. We do have a traffic impact alert as we are following a serious accident. Let me pull up one of our cameras right here just to show you what we're following. Again, this is going to be I-85, mile marker 55. Parts of I-85 completely blocked because of an overturned tractor trailer. Just happening not too long ago. No cars are even able to move, so completely shut down. These are the southbound lanes being impacted out in Cabarrus County. So if you're coming from Kannapolis heading towards Charlotte, this is what it looks like. Not even able to move. Not only all the cars on the major lanes, but even the cars right there who were trying to merge onto I-85 here. So your best route, I mean, this is going to be a mess. We don't even have an alternate. We don't even have an estimated time as to when it's going to reopen. So you might just want to put it on your GPS to try to navigate around this. This is what it is, where it's at on my map, northeast of Uptown. Again, this is going to be out in Kannapolis between mile marker 54 and 55, nearing George Liles Parkway. Again, we had a camera showing the actual accident, but we no longer have access to that one. But really, I think it paints a picture just seeing all of those cars just standing still. If you typically take I-85 from Kannapolis heading into Charlotte or know somebody who does, give them a call, because this is not the route that you're going to want to take. This is a major delay, a major backup as we are following that overturned tractor trailer again out towards Kannapolis.
Well, good news. We warmed up 1 degree. It's up to 16, and we have 11 still further off towards the west over in Gastonia, and then 13 for you over in Statesville. Plain and simple, this is the coldest day we've had in over a year. Certainly for areas west. Gastonia, it has been a long time since you've been at 11 degrees. The last time we were this cold physically was back in January 2024. So we are noticing the difference. Now, technically our low of 14 was barely colder than the coldest we were in 2025 by about 2 degrees, but it still makes the difference. So my director, Rusty, brought something to my attention that recently there's been some chatter, murmurs that there's been a lot of frost quakes reported, including one that was actually at South Mountain State Park, so not too far north of Shelby, just to the northwest of there. Well, what is a frost quake? So what happens here, and we have a chance for more of these in the western side of the Carolinas because where things were, not just today, but then also I think going over the next few days. So what happens is when you have rapidly falling temperatures, especially behind a system that we just saw, and then you cool the ground with some ice, that also helps as well. Well, it causes the underground water that we have to freeze. When that happens, we have a big difference in temperature where the new ice starts to expand, putting extra pressure on surrounding bedrock and soil. And what happens? It has a quick little crack. And that quick little crack is physically a quake, and sometimes it can be physically felt. So it's so cold that we even have a chance for frost quakes here on the western side of the Carolinas. All right, let's get our dance on. Check it out.
Ladder shag. It's kind of like this, and then like this, and then like this, and then.
I'm shagging.
I mean, we could just put that on replay. Come on. Just put it on replay.
Larry, sprinkle with the moves.
Give the people what they want. Hey, folks, it's a major milestone for our friends at NBC. Today marks 30 years of anchor weatherman Al Roker on the Today Show. During his time there, he's earned every possible award, every single recognition there is out there, covered every single storm. And he's really credited for helping evolve what you see today when it comes to weathercasting, whether it's the graphics, it's on-the-ground reporting. A lot of it came from Mr. Roker himself, so happy anniversary to Al Roker from all of us here at WCNC
Love
Charlotte.
that. Happy anniversary.
Anniversary.
What a guy. He's such a really good guy. I mean, he's got a big heart, a great family man, and had over the past 30 years I've worked with him a lot, got to know him pretty well as a friend, and we're doing a live shot in Myrtle Beach a couple of years, about 3 years ago.
Yes.
And he asked me, what do people do here? And I said, well, they like to shag. Well, he was taken aback by that. Then I had to show him. So consequently, the world's worst shagger, Larry Sprinkle, teaching Al Roker.
I don't know.
I don't know about world's worst.
No. If you only knew. And then we go back in time, back to about 1996. Al and I were doing another live shot here in Charlotte. And he just grabbed me and said, Larry, let me show you how to do this right. I am your friend. But there you can see the old logo back in the background there.
Yes.
Many times had a chance to work with Al over the years, but congratulations. Happy 30th anniversary. By the way, he made more guest appearances on Late Night with Conan O'Brien than anyone.
Really?
Over 30 guest appearances. What would happen, he actually lives pretty close to the studio, the Ed Sullivan Theater, and when a guest would cancel, hey Al, can you come over? And he would show up and be the guest on there.
And you think about, I mean, you think about 30 years, and you will still often see him do the Today Show and Nightly News.
Without a doubt.
The same day.
Just last night, he was there.
Yeah, it's a work ethic.
I tell you what, he's a great role model for all of us, a great friend, and congratulations. Happy 30th anniversary on the Today Show.
Absolutely.
He's seen a lot of the years. By the way, he actually was succeeded Willard Scott, who was before that. You have to be around a long time. And Willard, by the way, has a lot of connections to the Carolinas. His family is all from Wilkes County, so I got to know Willard very well as well.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you, Larry.
Happy anniversary.
All right.
Yeah.
We're going to take a quick break right here on WCNC Plus. Keep it right here. We'll have an update on the latest situation out on I-85.
Good morning, everyone. Parts of I-85 currently shut down because of an overturned tractor trailer. This is I-85 at mile marker 55. Cars are at a complete standstill right here. This is going to be out in Cabarrus County, coming in from Kannapolis. So if you're coming in from Kannapolis trying to head toward Charlotte, this is what I-85 looks like right now. We have all lanes that are blocked as you're heading toward Charlotte. Again, southbound lanes between exits 55 and 54. We're seeing those delays really build as those cars are at a complete standstill. That is going to be as you are nearing George Liles Parkway. Keep this in mind. If you typically take I-85, it is completely shut down because of an overturned tractor trailer. We will be following this very closely on WCNC Plus with all the latest information. All right, Chris, over to you.
All right, let's get right to it. Great job, Majestic. That is an awful situation. 39 degrees. At least we'll have that sunshine that's going to melt any lingering ice, or a lot of it, and then evaporate some of it. So each morning we're going to have less and less black ice, sunshine across the board. High temperatures the upper 30s, but realistically we're going to have a freezing wind chill on and off. Back to the 40s, though, at least Wednesday through Friday. Then we have the 20s for lows. Then boom, we're below freezing the entirety of this coming weekend, even with a chance for snow. Of course, more on that snowier forecast on WCNC Plus.
streaming live on WCNC Plus at 8:30 on this Tuesday morning as we are traffic alert right now.
I'm Ben Thompson, joined by Lisa Washington. Majestic storm standing by right now with more details. I-85, just an absolute mess.
Shut down right now because of an overturned tractor trailer this morning. This is I-85 at mile marker 55. This will be southbound lanes from Kannapolis heading toward Charlotte. It is a complete standstill. Now, earlier this morning, we did have another camera showing the specific accident. We no longer have access to that camera, but we know at least one tractor trailer completely overturned. Dozens of emergency responders there on scene, and this really just tells a story within itself. The impacts of that crash and the delays that are building. It's 8:30 right now, so lots of people typically taking I-85 southbound, and this is what we're seeing as we switch it over to my map. That purple there is indicating the lanes that are completely blocked off. The black or the red right here is indicating just really stop and go traffic. My best case scenario for you, my best advice is just get your phone and put it on GPS to try to navigate around this, because this up here out in Kannapolis is just a mess. Again, we're seeing the major delays between exits 54 and 55. Once we zoom it in, that is where the crash is. So it is really once you're nearing the George Lows Parkway there. Again, this is why we are traffic alert. We have just standstill traffic on I-85. It is completely shut down because of that overturned tractor trailer. Up next, I want to talk about water main breaks. So if we can pull up our video, earlier a photographer went out there on scene. Because here's the thing, we have some of the coldest temperatures that we've seen since January of 2024. We've been preparing you for this bitter cold Arctic air. It's not surprising that we saw these water main breaks, and we've seen a couple of different ones. You can notice though, the water all over the roads completely freezing over because of how cold it is. I mean, our ground surfaces are so cold, our air temperatures are surely cold enough. We have two different water main breaks, one out in Matthews that our photographer went to this morning, another one that's actually out there in Providence. Now, if we can switch it back over to my graphics here, here's another closer picture. This is a water main break out there in Providence. Notice how iced over it is. Didn't take very long for that water to really freeze over, and they're still working on this. I've been reporting on this since 5 o'clock this morning, and they're still asking to avoid that area. Again, Providence Road between South Sharon Amity and Ferncliff Road. In addition, that Matthews water main break also still ongoing. This is just south of Highway 51 on West John Street. So as you're heading out the door this morning, most of our major interstates, they continue to look okay, but they're not perfect. There will still be some slick and icy spots. There will still be some black ice, especially on perhaps side roads or over bridges, those specific areas. This is I-77 coming in from South Carolina. Haven't had any major delays there. We'll have another update on our traffic alert coming up here soon. All right, Chris, gonna hand it over to you, and we all just want to know when it's going to get warmer.
I think March at this point, the way things are trending. So do you know what? Don't worry about it. Well, the rest of January is not trending in a good direction. 39 degrees for our high today, which, by the way, we should be around 53. That's where our new average high moved up. I didn't even mention it yesterday because it's just kind of sad. And then 40 degrees around Hickory. Now, this is not unusual. We have an average for a reason because, of course, you have to have colder temperatures below normal to make that, and you also have to have above average temperatures. Well, what happens is oftentimes whenever you have that super warm start, we kind of make up for lost time. That's exactly what we've been doing. So expect a lot of sunshine. That's going to be great. It's going to be helpful overall, but still it's going to be wind chilly on and off as we work our way through the day. So just factor in that feeling like the teens in the 20s for a good portion when those winds are going to be gusting up. As far as our low temperatures this morning, this officially is the coldest of the season, outdoing December 15th, 2025, which, by the way, was the coldest temperature we saw for the entirety of the year 2025 last year. And then going forward, we will be back to the 40s, but still well below the mark of where we typically are going to be. So I was trying to give you a little optimism, but I think this actually makes it feel worse. 53 days until spring officially starts on March 20th at 10:46 a.m. Yeah, okay, maybe that's not the best optimism that everyone's looking for. Now, there's a lot of kids that are remote today, but then some of the kids that might just be on delay. You're expecting those temperatures to slowly be climbing up out of the teens to the 20s, and then eventually we're back to the upper 30s for the afternoon. So that's going to be some good news overall, but boy, are we going to be dealing with the colder side of things. Current temperature right now, We have come up from that 14-degree point, but you were still 11 degrees in Hickory, Gastonia, and Shelby. So it is much colder further off towards the west, 9 degrees over in Asheville. And as I was mentioning, a chance for frost quakes for my last hit. Well, no, that still is a really serious potential. And it's just going to be a big boom, really not a big hazard like an actual earthquake. But it might shock and awe some people. But we're that cold enough that it'll really flash freeze the groundwater that's underneath the surface and can cause some cracks in the bedrock and also the frozen soil as well. Let's move over to our next frozen chance, and that is going to be a chance for some frozen ice crystals, aka some snow. I think it's anywhere from about Friday night heading into Saturday night, even lingering into Sunday, that we will have potential for, yes, a little bit of snow, but it's still a big question mark. Oftentimes are we going to be cold enough? The answer is yes. Are we going to see the right path for the system? That is the big question mark that we're looking at. So it's still a scattered potential. The big check box is the cold, not worried about that. And moisture content, I think it's on the medium end at that point as we get a little bit warmer, close to that freezing point. And the snow type, the precipitation type, looks to be like it is going to be all snow if that is going to be the case in the scenario. But we'll still continue to keep you in mind what's going to happen here. A new update every morning here on WCNC Plus. But as of right now, I just want to keep in the back of your mind we'll have a chance for snow. I'm not saying rush out to the stores. This looks to be at least a light accumulation of snow, so maybe fun for the kids as a potential. Beyond that, much colder, 14 degrees on Sunday morning, rocking that for the start of Groundhog Day, officially on Monday, where hopefully Pakistani Phil has some good news for us because it's been a rough winter already for a lot of us. Take care.
Chris, thank you. We are now following a breaking news update in Mint Hill, where the suspect in that foiled New Year's Eve terror attack has been formally indicted. 18-year-old Christian Sturdivant was indicted by a Charlotte grand jury and faces multiple charges now. Prosecutors allege that he was trying to support ISIS and planned to use knives and hammers in the attack. Again, now formally indicted by a federal grand jury here in Charlotte. If convicted, he faces up to 20 years behind bars.
This morning, Chris has told us the coldest temperatures that we've seen in 2 years here in Charlotte, and that leaves many people at risk.
WCNC Charlotte's Destiny Richards now live in Elizabeth, explaining the resources they are providing to people with no place to go on a morning like this. Destiny.
That's right. The winter storm may be over, but the dangerous cold is not. There are emergency storm shelters that were open during this storm before the weekend. They're closing today, but local homeless shelters will be open. As advocates say, this is still a very critical time for people who are dealing with homelessness. Now, the Grady Cole Center behind me, it was open as an emergency storm shelter ahead of this weekend storm. It's deactivating today at 11 a.m. Mecklenburg County, the City of Charlotte, Emergency Management, and the American Red Cross activated the shelter in response to extreme weather and possible power outages. And while the storm is now dissipated, advocates say the need for shelter remains high. Just days ago, during the annual point-in-time count, organizers say the number of people experiencing homelessness is already trending higher than last year, at a time when affordable housing and shelter beds are in short supply.
With the rise in homelessness, we don't have the rise in shelter beds, right? So we don't have enough beds for the folks that actually need to access it. It looks really nice in the movies, but that's just not what it is in reality.
As the Grady Cole Center shelter closes, county leaders say everyone who stayed there has been checked in on and connected with available services. For anyone still unsheltered, alternate options open later today. Roof Above will begin accepting men at 12:30 this afternoon, and the Salvation Army will open its doors to women and families between 4 and 7 p.m. We also know outreach teams with Hearts for the Invisible Charlotte Coalition. They have been going out to encampments, providing shelter information and winter supplies. You can also donate winter supplies to area shelters, and we have more information on how to do that in this story on the WCNC mobile app. Live in Elizabeth, I'm Destiny Richards, WCNC Charlotte.
Destiny, thank you. This morning, flights are starting to bounce back after major delays and cancellations from the winter weather. Right now, FlightAware reporting there are 63 delays and 189 cancellations at Charlotte Douglas. That is still an improvement from last night when many travelers we spoke with were feeling the impacts.
Have had 5 more flights canceled, and so now, yes, it's almost 8 o'clock, and there's no getting out. And so they've rebooked me for the only flight tomorrow, which is at 9:45 p.m. And so I'm thinking of maybe just going back home to Wilmington.
Hopefully she and many of the other travelers are able to get out soon. Airport officials are urging passengers to check with their airlines for the flight status before they arrive at the airport. We are working to learn more about a crash in West Charlotte. It happened last night on I-85 South near Beatties Ford Road. Medic confirms one person was taken to the hospital with serious injuries. No word on that person's condition or what led up to that crash.
Also right now, one person fighting for their life after being hit by a car in East Charlotte. It happened at the intersection of Central Avenue and Rosehaven, not too far from Albemarle Road. Medic tells us they took one person to the hospital with serious injuries. This morning, a beloved Blowing Rock restaurant, its owners promising to rebuild after a massive fire. As we told you, it started Sunday morning at Bistro Roca, a building more than 100 years old near downtown Blowing Rock. Owners say the restaurant is a total loss, but they're glad nobody was hurt. In a statement, they said Bistro Roca has been filled with decades of memories, and while they're still in shock, they believe the community that sustained them will help them rebuild. The cause of the fire remains under investigation. 8:41 right now. The winter storm racking up a financial toll far bigger than anybody expected. See why some say it could be one of the most expensive winter disasters ever. .43 right now on WCNC Plus. At least 15 people have died in the brutal winter storm that swept across much of the country this past weekend. As the work to recover begins, many dangerous factors, though, remain.
Reporter Michael Yoshida takes us around the nation and shows us how different regions are handling the prolonged impacts.
Amid freezing temperatures, cleanup efforts begin.
It's been warming up, and I've been waiting for kind of keeping the exhaust clear and clearing it off, waiting to dig out the sides till I clear off everything on top.
Over 200 million people are under cold alerts. The frigid conditions are setting new record daily lows in the plains. More records are expected to be broken in the south, where ice remains a major concern.
Much of that ice is still creating significant challenges for emergency personnel and for the Department of Transportation.
At its peak, this weekend's storm knocked out power to more than 1 million customers.
This is going to be a historic event.
The head of Nashville Electric Service says they are not out of the woods yet.
We'll continue to make progress, but this event is still a weather event ongoing. The trees are still continuing to fall, which is causing issues with restoration and with more outages.
Several major school districts closed or turned to virtual learning on Monday due to the storm, and some will remain closed Tuesday. In Washington, D.C., the storm led to the closure of all federal offices Monday and Tuesday and forced the U.S. Senate to delay a vote as a potential government shutdown looms. Still, some locals are taking advantage of a rare phenomenon, ice skating on the iconic reflecting pool.
Probably once every, 10 years that this happens in D.C., where it's cold enough for long enough for the ice to be frozen, solid.
Michael Yoshida reporting for us there. Well, this winter storm also dealing a major blow to the economy. Economists say it's hard to pin down exact costs, but severe weather like this can shave up to 2% off the nation's GDP, gross domestic product. One private estimate puts the storm's impact at more than $100 billion, though many experts say that number is likely too high. Still, with thousands of flights canceled, widespread power outages, and major disruptions to businesses and supply chains, the financial toll is growing. Researchers say this storm could become one of the costliest winter events on record.
Frigid temperatures can affect the body in many ways, but they can be especially hard on your heart. Experts say cold weather makes blood vessels tighten, raising blood pressure and heart rate. And that can be dangerous for those with heart disease or high blood pressure, especially when doing hard work like shoveling snow. It's recommended to stay inside if you don't have to be outside. And when you're shoveling, limit yourself.
This is why we tend to see a number of heart attacks or cardiac consequences when people are shoveling snow or doing a lot of heavy effort, high intense work in cold weather or snowy conditions. Put in some breaks if you're shoveling, ask for some help. If there's a better time of day to do some of that shoveling, like under the heat of the sun, I would certainly advocate for that.
Dressing in layers, taking breaks, and watching for warning signs like chest pain or discomfort while you're outside in this weather can help prevent sickness.
Amid the freezing temperatures, according to AAA, the average gas price has gone up slightly, although still lower than this time last year. The national average last year around this time was $3.12. Right now, it's $2.88, a 6 cents increase since last week. In North Carolina, the average cost is $2.88, up 5 cents from last week. In South Carolina, $2.63.
Well, Charlotte Douglas, the airport still experiencing many delays and cancellations, although the extreme weather has toned down. Have you ever wondered what stops the planes from taking off during these times? Our meteorologist Chris Mulcahy will explain next.
Well, good morning, everyone. We do have a traffic alert in place for you this morning. This is our photographer here on scene. This is I-85 completely shut down because of this overturned tractor trailer. You can see this is a big problem. Now, we did get a message from Highway Patrol saying all lanes are closed. There are no fatalities. Injuries are unknown at this time, and they expect that this will be closed at least through 9 o'clock. At least at this point, it seems like it's going to be much more than that. This is I-85 mile marker 55. This is going to be coming in from Kannapolis, so I-85 southbound lanes if you're trying to make your commute in from Kannapolis into Charlotte. This is what we're seeing, the impact. So we saw the actual crash. Now these are the impacts. I mean, this looks like a parking lot. Roads are completely at a standstill at this point, and this will be ongoing for quite some time because of that overturned tractor trailer. We've been following this, and this is where it's at specifically. So once we zoom it in, typically if you're going to be traveling on I-85 southbound, maybe you're nearing the George Liles Parkway, that's where it's at. Again, these will be the impacts that we're following for you very closely here on WCNC until it is completely cleared. But if you typically drive this way, I would suggest finding an alternate route because as you can see, cars are not even moving as they're continuing to help those who are involved in the crash and trying to get it cleared. All right, Chris, over to you.
All right, let's go from the ground to the sky. So, flight delays continue to be a big issue, even though most of the storm has now passed. Total delays right now, current update, Charlotte Douglas International is 90. Total delays within Charlotte Douglas, and then also total cancellations, 197. But why? Most of the winter storm is gone, so you would think, okay, what's the deal? Well, all of this is kind of a domino effect, because if one plane is delayed, and then say it has to stop in Dallas and then go somewhere else, if it gets delayed there, that could cancel the next one. And if that one gets canceled, then the connecting flight, that one can get canceled. And sometimes it can trickle across multiple days, where there were thousands of people that were stuck at Charlotte Douglas International Airport because of this event, especially when you connect Dallas to Charlotte and everything in between. That's where we saw the worst of this system. So temperatures right now also super cold. Whenever temperatures are below 20 degrees, the de-icing doesn't really work too well. When it's below 10, it's even worse. And active weather patterns that we have right now, not really a huge issue, but here's the reason why. Why cold leads to more delays as far as planes go. Number one, more things freeze. Plain and simple. Of course, you go in the upper atmosphere where planes are flying, it can be as much as negative 40. So the planes can take that, but ice builds up on the wings and surfaces. They try to remove that. They have a heating de-icing agent that they try to remove from the planes when they're there. So the more ice, well, the more it takes. So adding an extra 20 minutes doing that, well, that eventually could lead to a trickle effect, and everything takes much longer. The colder it is, the de-icing process takes longer. Plowing more of the runways, say from all the snow that we just saw, slower taxi speeds. So all of this is just compounded into a domino effect that affects delays, not just for the day, but sometimes days. And that's exactly what we've been dealing with for the most recent term. Meanwhile, we have another chance for snow, but this one is not going to be nearly as widespread. We have ample cold and some moisture that potentially could lead to our next snow event. But again, this does not look to be anything as widespread as we just saw. That was a historic winter storm, ones that usually don't match that type of criteria. After today, we have the 40s and the 20s for our highs and lows. Much colder, likely below freezing with that snow chance for this coming weekend. All right, it's Tuesday. I haven't done this in a while, my man. It's time for our Tuesday Tail Wag.
Absolutely. Tuesday Tail Wagger time along with our friends at Animal Care and Control. If you're watching last week, we featured Bailey. Bailey, that sweet dog, is still there, still waiting for a forever home. Let's bring on today's Tail Wagger, Tundra. Great name. Tundra is about 2 years old, weighs right around 60 pounds. Just a great dog. Food motivated, learns easily. And for whatever reason, this beautiful dog, a husky mix, has been there for months. So we're hoping to find a forever home soon. She can be very docile, but also very playful as well. Available right now at Animal Care and Control, open Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. to 7 p.m., Saturday and Sunday, both days, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Check her out. Her name is Tundra. She is a husky mix. She's right around 2 years old, weighs about 60 pounds. Just a great dog, just in time for Valentine's. That's Tundra. She is our very special Tuesday Tail Wagger.
All right, Larry, thanks. 8:54 right now. Coming up right here on WCNC Plus, our own Jane Monreal is going to take over from our live Impact studio. She'll have Lisa Green Lewis. She's an expert when it comes to taxes. explaining changes that could impact your returns. That's coming your way at the top of the hour right here on WCNC Plus.
Good Tuesday morning, everyone. We have a serious crash to let you know about, a traffic impact alert right now. Take a look at your TV screen. This is what we have on I-85. This will be southbound lane. So coming in from Kannapolis heading towards Charlotte, we're following an overturned tractor trailer. This is live right now. Parts of I-85 completely shut down as they're trying to clear this. Highway Patrol did mention that there are no fatalities and they do not have an expected time for this to reopen. Let's go ahead and switch over to our traffic cameras. This really helps to paint the picture as well. This is I-85 again southbound in Cabarrus County. This is mile marker 55. Cars are not even able to move at all. I mean, we're seeing delays really coming in, getting really quite heavy again northeast of Uptown if you're heading southbound, especially if you typically drive where you're trying to near the George Liles Parkway. That's exactly where it's at. So put in your GPS to try to get around this. Stay close to WCNC. We'll keep you up to date. Chris.
Thanks a lot, Majestic. So check it out. Today, 39 degrees. Weather impact alert that's almost coming to an end. We had some slick spots. Don't know if that caused any accidents, but still not a great walk. But a lot of that is going to be melting and even evaporating today. 20s and the 40s, followed by a freezing weekend with a chance for snow. Join us on WCNC Plus.